Aho, Madakya Sib relatives. My name is Joanne Spotted Bear. I'm your Director of International Native Indian Programs Incorporated. Also, I'm from Wounded Knee, South Dakota, of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, sovereign nation where 300 men, women, and children died. I want to say thank you for reading the writings that were posted. I know I posted quite a lot of information, but all that information is there for you to have knowledge. Not only do I want to remember those who died, but those who fought in wars, those who given everything they could possibly give so our people can live. In today's society, we have to remember that we have a lot of people who are drinking and doing drugs and living in poverty, suicide, genocide. Our veterans who are fighting for the government and Native Indian world wars worldwide, elderly abuse, child molestation, our traditional ways that are being abused by people like James Arthur Ray, and the Cobell case, who wants us to sell our land. This is a form of what is called perpetual war. You also have to remember that who is watching us are the Oglala Sioux tribe, Larry Echohawk from Washington, D.C., the Obama administration, Queen of England, the Pope, the United Nations, and people of the world. There's going to be many people. And when the people of the world come here, they were told to sign a paper to abide by the laws of the country you reside in. Not many people do that. Just ask my friend from Germany. She came here, she wanted to sign papers, and she didn't, but she did give say in an area where she's not from. She's not from the Red Nation. She's from Germany. She has no business signing any papers. Nobody does. Not even Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, or anybody, but they do. The very first one to the very last one must pay the price of genocide. That means Christopher Columbus. By making him pay, we admit that he has syphilis. There is no Indian on the Red Nation that knew how to read, write, much less knew what syphilis was. So those writings are done by the white people themselves. Myself, Joanne Spotted Bear, my Indian name is Matonia. I promise to give my life to all those that have died. I will find this so-called God and make him pay for every tear that dropped on my relations, the Red Nation. I would like to talk about the 13 indigenous grandmothers. One of those 13 indigenous grandmothers was my Aunt Beatrice Weaselbear. None of these 13 indigenous grandmothers were on ABC, NBC, or CBS. 564 tribes went to Washington 2 years in a row. None of them was on ABC, NBC, or CBS, except for My Tribe TV, which was on the internet. And last year, they were December 16, 2010. I didn't hear nothing about it, so I don't know what happened there. If anybody has information, please get a hold of me. The Straw Man Act is where they gave us birth certificates and social security cards, made false promises this year. How are we going to get our sovereignty back, our sovereign, and gain sovereign, our sovereign rights on our own land, is to turn back in all social security cards and birth certificates as we make a transition back into the Turtle Island of the Great Red Nation. This morning I spoke with Wambli Omani, and him and I had agreed that the best way is to reclaim our status by giving all birth certificates and social security cards back to the federal government, and having them resign their status because they cannot or will not abide by our treaties, and then revoke all treaties that were ever signed on the Great Red Nation. We proved elderly abuse through the LakotaOyate.net. And not only that, there was also a video made, the Wellbriety movement, Journey to Forgiveness. Our people want to forgive, but they cannot forget, and they want freedom. The only way to get freedom is to give back everything and anything that the government has given to us and take back what is rightfully ours. The Ferris is that the people in the armed forces, they cannot sue while serving in the military. That means being a cop or in the military itself. The wars we have helped the government fight, and they're treating our people as if we owe them our lives. We don't owe the federal government our lives. We don't even owe Obama. We do not owe the 5% rich our lives. We are the people of this land. They should be paying us. Instead, they're letting our people die as if to say we don't care. There's only two kinds of people, the original and aboriginal. We are the landholders of this land. That means this land belongs to us. So if you're looking for answers, please pay attention, because I must too. I too must pray in a most humble way and ask God for forgiveness. And I too must ask Creator to help, so you may help our people. Relatives, there's a little over 4,500 people on my webpage, and I ask that each and every one of you pay attention as we work through this the best way we can. We learned that America for the New World, clearly named after Amerigo Vespucci. That means America is not a country. It's named after a man in the feminine aspect of America. Why didn't they name this country America? Well, that's a good question. I'd like to know. On October 12th, on the 12th of October, 1492, Christopher Columbus was the first to reach the land, the west of America, on the Bahamas. Christopher was followed by Vespucci. Okay, so the next one is America is no country. Article 12 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states as follows. Article 12, no one shall be subject to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor attack upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attacks. That means they weren't supposed to kill our people, but they did it anyway. The reason for my corporation entity number is because over 1,000 tribes have went to Washington, D.C. Over 564 tribes went there 2 years in a row, 13 indigenous grandmothers. We have AIM marching across the United States. The only answer that I find, relatives, is that all 1,000 tribes pulled what is called the fiduciary duty of trustee status away from the federal government, and we no longer do business with the federal government, and we ask them to be removed off of our land on the international level. How do we do this? We have to give back all social security cards, birth certificates, and anything of any meaning. We can and will have our own schools, our own way of life. As it is, we do have our own traditional ways. We have sun dances and sacred ceremonies that we can start to teach the people. Those who are mutts, we ask you to strongly pay attention, because this here is no longer a joke. It's been over 519 years. And we, the Red Nation, are the solemn owners of this land. This land was left for us to do with what we choose, not to be treated the way anybody wanted us to be treated. So no white person on this land is in no moral position to call anyone freeloaders, not even John Stossel of 2020 or Donald Trump or anyone for that matter. In other words, they are what is called forgery. Forgery is an act of spontaneously, falsely, and knowingly presenting an item, product, or service with the intent to deceive. Okay, so they have deceived our Indians, and we're sick and tired of it. We don't want this government on our land no more. The Howard Wheeler Act is to keep the natives oppressed. If it was not true, we'd never have to ask for help, and that's exactly what we're doing. Trading with the Enemy Act is where no military can go to China or Russia or Japan or anywhere and talk to them and at the same time make trade with them. Unfortunately, that's what our government does. So what I'd like to do is ask you to bear with me. I'm going to stop right there, and I will make another video, part 2 to this. Lemiacha matowi ahemiacha. This is me, Bear Woman, doing the best I can to help our people. I want you to have hope and faith in all of us, and those of you who can help us and have education, we need you. Those of you who pray in the most sacred way, we need you too. And our children, we need you to learn your traditional ways as best as you can. At least pick up a song. There's PLD songs being played on this. Please, I strongly advise you to start learning.